Hey guys, Dane's Great Journey, making another video. I know it's been a month since my last video when I talked about dry January. How are you guys doing first and foremost? How is your year going? I hope it's well. Thank you again for tuning into this video. If you're checking out this channel for the first time, you might be coming here just for learning about my experience going to the Unleash the Power Within Tony Robbins event. That's what I'm going to be talking about today. But thank you so much. We are in the studio, the home studio. As you can see, I have a mic right here because about a year ago, I started a podcast called Young, Wild, and Rich, where I sit down and interview young professionals of all different career aspects of life, whether they work for a company, an organization, they are in outside position, they are in an office, and really just break down their careers and see what their life is about and what they enjoy, to share that with other young people like yourself who are trying to find a career that you really enjoy. So that's what I've been doing a lot, and that's taken a lot of my time, and it's been extremely fun. But I still have Dane's Great Journey, which I love as a video journal of the different things that are going on in my life. So without any further ado, let's get into the topic of this video. Thank you again so much for joining me. I want to share with you my experience because 2 weeks ago I attended the Unleash the Power Within in LA. For Tony Robbins. It was 2 weeks, and it was amazing. It was an amazing experience, and I want to share with you some of my takeaways. What did I think? Do I recommend it? What do you think of Tony Robbins? I mean, so many people either think he's like a guru, a motivational speaker, someone who's just rah, 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 rah. You know, I mean, if you've seen anything about their events, obviously there's a lot of dancing and singing and, you know, people getting a little crazy, and you might not feel comfortable in a situation like that. So what was the experience? What was it like? Before I jump into that, I want to give you some context of how I actually got in the whole world of Tony Robbins. So I got exposed to personal development when I was about 18, 19 years old. And I got exposed to it from an experience I had in church, because I go to church. I've been going to church for a long time. When I was younger, my mom's a Christian, and I grew up a Christian as well. And in class, well, I shouldn't say class, in church one day, the pastor was actually talking about the idea of thinking like a millionaire or thinking like a billionaire, and how your thoughts and what you think can actually change your life, which I had never been exposed to any of that before growing up, and it really changed my perspective. And from that day forward, I started learning about how to personally develop, if you will, right? How can I get better? How can I enhance my skills when it comes to communication, sales, fitness, health, mindset, and performance, to think like someone who is successful in the areas that I wanted to be successful in. Everyone wants to make money, and everyone wants to do cool things on whatever terms that they have. So that exposed me to reading tons of books, listening to tons of audio programs. And on that journey, when I was about 19 years old, I was stumbling through my parents' library at the time, because at their house they had many, many books. They were into personal development when they were in their later years of life as well. And I found this cassette tape, if you will, of cassette tapes for Tony Robbins, and it was called Unlimited Power. And I was like, that's interesting. I had a Hyundai 2004 car that I was driving to and from community college while working in a fitness role where I was training different teams of all ages from kids from 6, 7, 8, 9 years old all the way up until 20-year-olds. So I was training teams in sports performance. That was what I got my degree in as well when I was going to college: exercise and wellness, health performance, health promotion. Those were like my passions at the time. So I was learning a lot about communication skills, psychology, but then I got exposed to personal power, and I started to listen to these cassette tapes on my way, to and from work, to and from school, and just immersing myself in some of the things that Tony talks about. And I don't know how much you know about Tony Robbins, but he really goes deep into the mind. He goes deep into the human needs, this thing he's developed called human needs psychology, and really getting down to the root of why we do the things that we do as humans. So when I started listening to these tapes, it really started resonating with me, because he wasn't just someone who was like, hey, you need to, get up in the morning and get really energetic, and, you need to be motivated and things like that. He was not talking about this in this series, even though these were tapes he made years and years and years ago. He was talking about, how do you work to communicate a message to someone where they understand you? How do you understand someone else and where they're coming from? Because we are all motivated by different things. We all have different values, belief structures about what we think life is, and these fundamental principles and ways he was teaching was very deep around how to understand people, how to understand yourself, and it helped me so much. And I would listen to hours and hours and hours. I would go through these tapes, 10 times over. I can't even remember how many hours I did that. And then it exposed me to reading, Personal Power, his book, as well as Unleash the Power Within. I went to the seminar, but I also read the book Unleash the Power Within. And again, he's going into all of these different structures of human needs, values, beliefs, why we do the things that we do, how to change limiting beliefs, how to change different things, and also state management. If you know Tony at all, he's a big state management person because he is all about energy. And energy comes from how you move your body, the words that you say, where you direct your focus. He has a famous saying that says, wherever focus goes, energy flows. So he out of all of the people in the personal development space, from leadership trainers to psychology trainers, he had impacted my life the most. And what was really cool to experience when I was learning these things in the early days, when I was 19, 20 years old, training and working with people of all different ages, and these are young kids who are just in their early development of what they think is important. And I had to work to try and motivate one kid who didn't even want to be in class versus another kid who's going to college. So I was taking all of these things I was learning and going to do them in the real world, practical application, immersion of the things that I was learning. And I saw such amazing results, not only in myself, but in the people I was working and communicating with to run effective classes and workshops and be able to get kids, to perform at their absolute best, to get them in a resourceful state, to understand that you can interrupt someone's, pattern when they might not have a lot of energy and they're coming into a class, they're tired, they just went to school all day. How do you get people to, get on the same page? It all starts with the person who's influencing those people too. So that was me. So in order for me to be an effective leader, trainer, to get these kids to work together and have an amazing class so their parents are happy as well, but then they also leave wanting to come back and work with me again. And I started seeing so many of the kids that I was working with wanted to come work with me specifically because a few things: the way I was carrying myself, the way I spoke, the way I made the class fun and interactive, and I really cared about each and every one of the individuals. I mean, one of my biggest passions is helping people. It really is. And that might be helping people from just sharing a story like this, or from being able to sit down with someone, share their story and be able to impact other people's lives. That is in my true nature of what makes me the happiest as an individual. So I got to do all these things for young people and transform, their fitness at the time, as well as, the environment that they came into. I created an environment that was amazing, but it was from all the different things I was learning from very influential people, not just Tony, but other people too. But Tony, out of all of them, made the most direct impact on my life because he got into the root of why we do the things that we do, and then how to control and master your emotions and your state to directly impact other people's lives. Because in order to influence someone else, we have to know what already influences them. This is something that Tony Robbins talks about. So I would have to sit down and understand, what someone cares about and help them get to that goal or whatever it might be. And again, I'm not going to go into all the different nuances of what he teaches. Check out his book if you haven't, Unleash the Power Within, Personal Power. On YouTube, there's so many videos. I've gone through so many of his free videos on YouTube as well, guys. And then I started, checking out some of his audio programs and buying some more of his audio programs because they transformed me so much from the beginning when I first got exposed. And now it's become something that's been able to go even deeper and deeper. And now just coming off of going to his event for 2 weeks was so cool to see him in person, get on stage and go for hours and hours and hours and hours without any break, with very little water. And this guy's now, I think, almost 60 years old and still has as much energy when he was in his 20s. And that was so cool to see and observe from someone who is such a good speaker and communicator, because these are things I'm constantly working on myself. I want to improve to do that. I want to be able to speak to help someone, whether it's in my job, in my career, when I'm selling something because I'm in sales. I work for a software company. Or it's just communicating to a loved one, communicating to a friend, trying to help someone understand that they can do whatever it is that they're trying to do. Because a lot of people just need encouragement today. A lot of people just need encouragement. And you can also look at my YouTube channel as a way to encourage people by sharing my journey, the ups and downs that I've gone through, because I've gone through a lot of ups and downs. I've had a lot of setbacks, guys. That is life. So how was the event? I know now you guys are like, okay, just tell me how the event was. That's why I came to this video. I will. So the event was 4 days. It's about 50 hours. It's a very immersive type process. The first day, it started around 12:30, 1 o'clock. Tony came on at 1, and it went until about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. No joke. And from 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning, Tony was speaking on stage the entire time. Now, Tony doesn't speak at every single day because his vocal cords are so damaged. You can kind of look at some of the videos he talks about it, but he's been doing this for over 42 years. And when he speaks on stage for 12, 13 hours in one sitting and screams and jumps with 15,000 people in a room of over 70 different countries, it destroys your vocal cords. So he has to take a break. So the first day is all Tony. The second day is no Tony. It's his second speaker, who's also a really good speaker too. It was cool to see him as well and do some of the other things. There's also videos of Tony in the event on the second day. The third day is Tony again, which is great for another like 9 hours. It's not as many, but it's a really long day with Tony again. And then the last day is not with Tony, with some other with another speaker, his head trainer and head speaker. I think his name's Joseph McClendon or something along the lines of that. I hope I'm not botching his name. I think that's it. It's Joseph something. But yeah, so the last day is like health and fitness. And I'll be 100% honest with you guys. I did not go every single day. I went the whole first day. I went the second day for half the day. And I was visiting a best friend of mine in LA who I work on a lot of different creative projects with, Anthony. He was the one who attended it with me. So we wanted to not just immerse ourselves in the things we were learning. We wanted to take action on some of the stuff. He talks about that too. You have to take massive action on the things you're learning or it's never going to change, what it is you're trying to do. So just kind of setting the precedence. I haven't been able to attend. I didn't attend everything. Whole first day, about half the second day, whole third day, and then the last day I didn't attend at all, which was the health and fitness component. But I wasn't coming there for the health and fitness component, in all honesty. Health and fitness is such a big passion of mine. And, I still got so much out of it because I really wanted to go see Tony. And I will just let you guys know too, I'm going to be going back to another Unleash the Power Within because I want to bring my friends who I think this will help their lives. And we're going to go to the event in Miami, and that's in November of this year. So if you're going to be potentially going to an upcoming Tony Robbins event, let me know. I'd love to connect with you guys. There's 15,000 people at this one in LA. So first day, I think was the most beneficial. And the reason why I say that is it is all about energy state management. Energy comes with state management, but a better way to say it is state management. How to get yourself in a resourceful, powerful, unstoppable state where anything is achievable. You're so confident, you're so, fired up. That's literally what the first day was. And he was teaching you, there's a lot of other things you learn in the first day, especially when he speaks from 1 to, 1 in the afternoon to 1:30 in the morning. And then at 1:30 in the morning, you walk across coals and fire, which was a cool experience too, especially for people who are like, I don't know if I can do something, but he teaches you how to get in a very resourceful state. And then you walk across burning coals about 15 feet. And I did not burn my feet at all. Some people do, just because, again, you have to be in a very resourceful state. And I've been implementing and learning Tony's principles, psychology, state management for, all the way up until now. And I'm 27 now, and I got exposed to his stuff when I was 19. So I've been working on these things, on my personal routines, performance habits, and been able to develop some amazingly strong habits, routines. I consider myself someone who has a ton of energy. I'm sure you can see that based on watching this video and how I move and stuff. That's just who I am as an individual because I'm passionate about learning these things and continuing to improve in the different pillars of my life. So coming into this event, I was looking just to, get myself exposed to the guy, see him in action, which was amazing. But also what was so big and impactful and empowering for me that first day was working with Tony on actually embedding and creating these powerful states and going deeper with it and conditioning these states because I've always worked on this stuff. One thing that Tony talks about in a lot of the material he talks about is incantations. And I'm sure you've heard of a affirmation where it's like, I'm strong, I am successful, I am a millionaire, right? Whatever these affirmations, you're basically stating and claiming what you want. But what Tony talks about with incantations is stating it with like powerful, energy. So it's like, I am so strong. I'm so healthy, so wealthy and wise. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Every day in every way, I get stronger, leaner, healthier, smarter. God's wealth is circulating my life, flowing into my life in avalanches of abundance. All my needs, goals, and desires are met instantaneously by infinite sources of intelligence. For I'm one with God, the creator of this universe, and God is everything. Every day in every way, I get stronger, leaner, faster. I'm in the best shape of my life. I have unending energy. I'm a master of sales, communication, influence, persuasion. I'm a genius. I am debt-free and totally financially independent. I can do all things. So again, I just want to say that because these are the things that he works with you on. And I know you might be listening to this and going, whoa, I don't know if I can do this. And that is okay. That is completely okay. You got to be you. You got to be you. But Tony gets you to understand, like, there's a very powerful you, and there's this inner just warrior of strength, of encouragement, of confidence that he teaches you how to tap into. And again, guys, I've been working on this stuff for so long. So then coming to this event, what the biggest thing on day one, you could go for one day and get it, and it's well worth it. It's well worth going. You can go for one day and get so much out of it just on I want to ask you a question, because he asks this at the event. What would life be like if you could be in a joyous, compassionate, highly energy focused, driven, joyful, strong state? What would your life be like if you could get there and stay there and live within that state every single day for the majority of your day? What would your life be like if you could do that? Then he teaches you how to get there. He shows you over and over and again how to create that state, because let me ask you again, have you ever had that feeling in your life? Everyone has. You've had that time in your life where you felt so good. You maybe have just accomplished a really hard goal, but you were able to get there. You were able to get there, and you feel amazing. And he takes you back to that experience, and then he says, what were you doing? What were you saying? How were you moving? Right? Because our physiology, how we move our body, how we stand, how we project our words that come out of our mouth, how we communicate the language that we say, and then how we move our body, right? Physiology, what we say, and then what we focus on, how we direct our focus. Do we focus on good stuff? Do we focus on what we have and what we can give, or do we focus on what we don't have? He talks about all these things, and then he teaches you how to get there, and get there over and over and over again. He teaches you how to move, how to, make noise, how to say things like, yes, I'm the best. I can do all things. You know what I mean? He creates this vocabulary that makes sense for you, of course. And then you integrate, immerse, and you do this all on day one. You talk about other things, values, beliefs, human needs psychology, which is going to be extremely beneficial for you too. The 6 fundamental human needs, the human needs psychology that he talks about was one of the biggest things I've learned from him too. And basically at a high level, certainty is one need that we all need. We need to feel like we can avoid pain and gain pleasure. Uncertainty, meaning you need variety in your life, connection and love, being connected to something, family, significant others, a group, a tribe, right? A workplace. And then significance, we all need to feel special, unique, important in some way. And then you have growth. We all need to grow in terms of, getting better, improving, because if you don't grow, you die. He talks about that as well. And then the other one is contribution. We all need to give back in some form. So he talks about all those 6 human needs. What are your top 2 drivers? And then what are the 2 that would be more impactful for your life? So again, I'm not going to go into all of that. They talk about that on day 1. Human needs psychology changed my life in terms of understanding how I go about getting my needs and understanding how to understand someone else's needs too. Huge, so impactful. This will change your life and your mindset if you're open to the experience. Again, the day is really long. There's no breaks on day 1. There's breaks on some of the other days, but the first day there's no breaks. So you need to bring like snacks and things like that if you're hungry. He teaches you that energy doesn't come from just food or sleep. Energy comes from movement. Energy comes from what you say and how you stand and what you're trying to accomplish and what you focus on. And it's incredible how much they immerse you in that, and then getting you to get into that type of state every single day. So then when you leave the event, you know what a powerful state is. You know what it's like to feel at your best, but then you also know how to get back to your best. And at the event, you're not sleeping. your normal 8 hours. I was sleeping maybe 5.5 hours a night, and I'm someone who always says, because I'm a routine guy, I'm the person who always says that I need 6.5 hours of sleep at the minimum to perform at my best. That's what I say. But is that just a belief? Sure. And at the event, I was getting 5.5, but being able to get back into that state over and over and over again, and leaving the event. And again, I'm just speaking to the first day, guys. The first day, this is what you'll get out of it. And the third day, Tony goes more into limiting beliefs, the things that hold us back, why they hold us back, the two biggest fears that we have. And those two biggest fears are I'm not enough, and I'm not going to be loved. Those are like our two biggest fears. And again, these are just some of the things that they talk about, and it's so beneficial for you to expose yourself to this. But I would say the biggest takeaway that I had, and I know we're at 20 minutes here, so if you've been watching still, you rock. You rock, and you're amazing. So thank you. But that was the biggest thing for me taken away. Like, I have another level. I am a very routine. I feel like I have more energy than anyone else when I come into a room, because I've developed all these routines and rituals, health, fitness. These are priorities of mine. These are standards of mine to help me be my best. But now going to that event and seeing that state management work and getting to work with Tony on it for 10, 11 hours and then in grade and then go deep into what's that next level? What's Dane's next level? What is my next level? Or what's your next level? And then getting there, and then I was going, wow, I have such another level. I can perform at such a better level of what I was doing before. And now that's my new standard, because I got to work on that over and over and over and over again. And so amazing to see. And just one thing too about the event, you have to play full out. They do a lot of dancing. They do a lot of yelling and screaming, again, because it's getting you in a state and learning how to continue to maneuver that and manufacture that into your life so you have good feelings. They talk about, obviously meditation too, and not meditation for the woo-woo like it is like you're not doing that. It's basically just, meditative for the fact of getting in a joyful state, because Tony talks about two things: the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment. And we need both. We need both in our lives to have an amazing, successful, fulfilled life, because achievement is one area of your life, right? Being able to achieve something. Like when I got into fitness, I wanted a big goal. I didn't want to lose 10 pounds. I wanted to get a 6-pack. I made a massive goal. I took massive action, and I kept changing my approach. This is what Tony talks about too, until I got the result, until I actually got the result. But there's also the art of fulfillment. And he says success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure, because he talks about, he knows billionaires who are not fulfilled and they're not happy. So he goes into that as well. But I will say the first day alone was well worth it. It was amazing to just get myself to that level every single second of that first day and learn that I have all these untapped resources within me. And life is not about not knowing what to do. It's about understanding that you need to be as resourceful as you can, because everything that you need to do, you can figure out. And he talks about that as well. But the biggest thing for me, guys, and I'm going to conclude here in just a minute, is how to get yourself into that amazing, powerful state and what actually contributes to that. The words we say, what we direct our focus on, how we move our body, how we get up, and what we say, guys, that makes such a big difference. As you can see, my tonality just going up right there and speaking, and making little clicks or sounds with movement gets me right back there. But again, it's not just that, right? There's a lot of things he talks about. Do I think it's worth going? Yes, I think it could change anyone's life who's open to saying, what does this guy have to say? Check out his book. Watch any of his YouTube videos, and you'll get an idea that he's not just about motivation. He's not just about, you need to motivate yourself. You need to get up and do something. It's not even about that, guys. Tony Robbins has impacted my life in so many ways, guys. And I always like to share with you guys what makes a difference in my life, because what might make a difference in my life might be the thing that makes a difference in your life, even if it's a small difference, or it leads you to meet someone, it leads you to implement maybe a new routine or a habit. It's the little things that we get exposed to that change our life. If I wasn't sitting in that church service that day when I was 18 years old, not paying attention like I always did, I would have not been exposed to something that changed my life for the rest of the years up until now. I'm 27 years old, and I'm so excited about my future, about my present, about the things I'm working on, the people I get to interact with, what I'm doing with the podcast and Young, Wild, and Rich, as well as having this video journey of Dane's great journey to share my journey with you guys and hopefully be able to help each other. We're all in this together. We're all working towards achieving and fulfilling ourselves and our personal things that we're working towards. And that's what life is all about, guys. So I'll end here, guys. If you think this video was helpful in any way, and I know, guys, I just ranted and talked about a lot of different things, but if you're still here, seriously, you rock. You're amazing. I love you and your support. And if you think this could help anyone, share this with someone. Like and subscribe to see some of the more stuff I'm coming out with. I'm always trying to share the journey. Check out Young, Wild, and Rich, the podcast. I interview lots of young professionals. I actually did a podcast that was around 20 minutes on my experience too, so it's a different thing. I'll actually put it in the comments, the podcast of the Young, Wild, and Rich of the UPW experience. But seriously, guys, you mean the world to me for being here. And subscribe if you haven't, and share this if you think it can help someone else. I look forward to being in the next video with you guys and sharing whatever that might be, because I'm not exactly sure what it is. So thank you so much, guys, and I look forward to seeing you in a future podcast, a future YouTube video, and I'll leave you with what Tony loves to say, and it's so powerful too, just thinking about it for yourself, but live with passion. Thanks, friends. See you soon.